What I think is scary about this is we talk about food security, we talk about all of these issues that we have in this country. We talk about drought, farmers not being able to water their crops, and yet a lot of these data centers are going into some of these areas. They're going into these areas in our heartland where they're using a significant amount of water, a huge amount of water, enough water just by Amazon alone. This isn't including Google, this isn't including the United States government. Just Amazon alone used enough water to take care of 1 million American households for 1 year. This water is coming from the same aquifers, the same rivers, the same sources that our farmers are dependent on to water their crops, which most of them have been cut off from watering their crops in a lot of places. Many of you have noticed that we keep wearing these leather patch hats that say defend the right to farm on them. These leather patch hats support our nonprofit, Meet My Neighbor Productions. You can get your hat at Yanasa Trading Co. and help us defend the right to farm through education, outreach, and, as we've been doing over the last couple of years, farm relief efforts. So get your leather patch hat and let others know that you defend the right to farm. So the more that we build out these data centers, one, it's pretty reasonable to assume that farmers are going to be irrigating less because they have to share water with data. And the consumer is going to pay more at the grocery store because there's less food being created, unless we start importing it from Argentina. A lot of these data centers, this is all economics, a data center provides more jobs than, a farm or a ranch does. And so the reality is when a new big data center rolls into town, a lot of times it's very secretive. People don't really know a whole lot about the plans until it's far too late to stop it. But when these data centers roll into town, they are given water rights and all sorts of things from the governments because they're creating jobs. They're creating economic growth. The economic growth isn't going to do much for them if they don't have any water left. They don't think about that. They just think about the money, how much money's coming in there. And so they basically sell out farmers and ranchers under the bus. We can get more jobs from a data center in Des Moines than we can from some farmer. Even air-cooled data centers have a huge water footprint because they depend on these electrical facilities to feed their data centers, which require this huge water footprint. And that's a lot of what Amazon lied about. But that water that Amazon is lying about is being taken from irrigation sources. Water is kind of the lifeblood of agriculture, which is the lifeblood of this entire country. When unchecked data center growth takes off, when companies are lying about the amount of water that they're using, it's a transfusion that's happening in the heartland of America that could run farmers dry.